So here we are for section 3, which is standard form of an equation. So we have many forms of an equation and we're very used to slope-intercept form, but we're also going to learn standard form, which you can see is ax plus by equals c. In order to do things, okay, in terms of ax plus by equals c and define different parts of the equation, which we're always looking for, it's going to be a little different this time. So in order to find the x-intercept, you need to solve for x when y equals 0. And to solve for the y-intercept, you need to solve for y when x equals 0. Okay, so solve for x when you want the x-intercept, solve for y when you want the y-intercept. And the slope is going to be the opposite. Please look, there is a big opposite sign right here, the opposite of a over b. Okay, so you can pause me if you need more time to take those notes before we go on, but I think it'll make sense when we do an example. So here's example A, 6x minus 3y equals 12. Now I want to be able to find the x-intercept. And my note says solve for x when y equals 0. So I'm going to pretend that y is 0. So I'm going to go 6x minus 0 equals 12. So to solve for the x-intercept, where it crosses the x-axis, solve for x and pretend that y is gone. Okay, so then I would have 6x equals 12. So x would equal 2. Now that should make sense because if I plug in 2 for x, I would have 6 times 2 minus 0 equals 12. Well, that obviously is an ordered pair that works as long as y is 0. Well, the x-axis is over here, so that means here's 2, 0. Okay, so if it helps you to see that as the ordered pair 2, 0, right, that should make sense. Okay, the y-intercept is the opposite. This time I'm solving for y. So I'm going to have 0 minus 3y equals 12. Okay, so y here would equal negative 4 because I would divide each side by negative 3 to get negative 4. So then you would hopefully see that that would be the ordered pair 0, negative 4. So 0, negative 4 is down here. Okay, again, that should make sense. If I go 6 times 0 minus 3 times negative 4, that should equal 12. Okay, so these are just finding ordered pairs, filling in a table, okay, filling in a table to find 2 points on a line because 2 points makes a line, as you can see right there. That's all you need to graph it. And then the slope, the formula was the opposite of a over b. So a is the number on the x, so here's my a, and here's my b. So I have the opposite, a, which is 6, over b, careful, make sure you grab that negative over negative 3. So that makes that a slope of a positive 2. Now I can check that. Does that make sense? From here, do I go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1? Yep, that's a slope of 2. This is just the faster way to finding it, okay? If that doesn't work for you and you want to actually count, then you can count and have it work like that. Example B is 4x plus 5y equals 20. So we're going to go ahead and fill our table in the same way. For the x-intercept, I'm going to let y equal 0. So I'm going to say 4x plus 0 equals 20. So when I solve for x, I would divide each side by 4. So I would get x to equal 5. Again, hopefully you realize that that would make sense for the ordered pair to be 5, 0. 4 times 5 plus 0 is 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. Now I'll do the y-intercept, which means I'm solving for y. So I'm going to say 0 plus 5y equals 20. This time I would divide each side by 5, so I would get y to equal 4. That would give me the ordered pair 0, 4. And again, you can check that. Is 0 plus 5 times 4 20? Yes, it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4. On the y-axis, 2 points makes a line. So there's my line. I probably would like to know the slope. So again, it is the opposite of a over b. So negative 4 over 5 should make sense. This is a negatively sloped line, so it's negative. And I went down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that should make sense. Okay, example C wants you to now change this y equals mx plus b into standard form. Okay, so standard form says ax plus by equals c, which means I need my x right here to get in front of my y. So I need to move it to the other side, so I'm going to subtract it. So I'll have negative 1/4 x plus y equals a negative 7. Okay, so I just subtracted it to move it over. Now, I know you want to be done, but the definition of standard form means that those numbers, those coefficients on the x and the y, cannot be negative, nor can they be a fraction. So what we need to do is clear the fraction. So I need to multiply this whole equation by negative 4. Now I chose 4 because once I multiply 4 times 1/4, I get 1. And the negatives cancel. So now negative 4 distribute times y, it's negative 4y. Also to the other side of the equation, negative 4 times negative 7 is 28. So this equation in standard form is 1x minus 4y equals 28. Okay, so your trick is always to multiply by this number that you're trying to get rid of. Okay. Example D gives us y equals 3/4 x minus 6. Okay, well, this is slope-intercept form, so this is M and this is B, which means I automatically know my y-intercept is negative 6. You got it, good job. And my slope, 3/4. You guys are champs at this by now, so I know you got that part. But to solve for x here is a little tricky. We want the x-intercept, which meant I wanted my y to be 0. So 0 equals 3/4 x minus 6. Okay, so it's just like before, it's just written differently, but you can use the same trick. So to solve for x here, I would have to add 6 to each side. So I get 6 equals 3/4 x. Now to get rid of a fraction, ooh, I know you love those, multiply each side by 4/3. Okay, so 4/3. So I get x on the right side. Over here, I can put 6/1, which gives me 24/3, which gives me 8. So my x-intercept is 8, which would be the ordered pair 8, 0. And again, if you check that, that should make sense. I would get 0 equals 3/4 times 8 minus 6. If you multiply 8 times 3/4, you get 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. So we are happy. And let's take a look at one more because that is kind of tricky. So let's look at example E. Okay, so let's find the x-intercept. Same rule as before. Let y equal 0 and solve for x. Okay, first step, solving for x. Subtract 12 from each side. So I've got negative 12 equals 2/3 x. More fractions, your favorite. Multiply by the reciprocal again, which is 3/2. So again, I'll put negative 12/1. When you multiply fractions, you go straight across. So 3 times negative 12, negative 36. 2 times 1 is 2. Simplify that down. Negative 18 equals x. So if you want to give me an ordered pair, that would be negative 18, 0. So that's a lot of work to find the x-intercept when it's written in y-intercept form, but we can still do it. The y-intercept though, nice and easy, 12. You know that. Slope, 2/3. Not even a challenge. So the only one that's tricky when it's written in slope-intercept form is the x-intercept, but you're very good at solving, so I don't expect you to have a lot of problems there. And that is the end of your notes for section 3 on standard form.